Guys, so today I'm going to start my project for the Mental Health Matters 2023 event, and I just wanted to make a little video and do a little whip and chat with you guys about my life and living with ADHD. I find that a lot of people that I follow online that have ADHD also have a lot of the symptoms that I have. I have been diagnosed, I'm 49 years old. I just turned 49. And my full clinical diagnosis is I have bipolar 1, which is hereditary. I also have borderline personality disorder, which is usually you get borderline personality disorder from childhood trauma. I also have chronic PTSD, and I have generalized anxiety disorder, and I also have ADHD. And ADHD and generalized anxiety disorder are hereditary, and PTSD is through trauma. So I'm going to do a series of videos for you guys, and I'm going to work through my story. It's going to take, because there's so many layers, I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I had all of these mental disorders, and so I want to share my story about what happened and how I got through it, and what happened with my mental health and what I've had to do, because I entered into some really, really severe, I guess there's another word for that, intense therapy for the PTSD, which was absolutely a game changer for me. So I want to, share that with you guys, and I think it's going to be a series of videos for that. So I'm going to put them in parts, and this is kind of like a first part, just introducing you to what I've been diagnosed with. And the one I struggle the most with, believe it or not, is not the borderline, is not the bipolar. It's actually the ADHD. And I put all of the words on my project, and I'm going to go over them with you while I'm diamond painting today. This is a full crystal custom that a friend of mine, Sherry, had made for me and gave to me for this event. And I'm super excited to do it. I've had it for months and months and months, and so I get to start it today. I'm really excited. I've never done a full crystal, so I'm really, really excited to do this. Anyway, so I'm going to go over all of these with you. Some of them are symptoms, and some of them are just feelings. Some of them are medication. It's all things that are relatable to ADHD. And then the next video that I do, we'll get into a little bit of my story and my life when I was a child, and the borderline personality disorder, and we'll go from there. Anyway, my father was diagnosed with, he had ADHD and bipolar. I'm not sure if he had one or two. I'm thinking he had two. That's what I have, and that's also what my brother has. So I've got some words on this project that you will see that you're probably like, okay, well, how does trauma relate to ADHD? You'll see trauma's right here. And so with ADHD and trauma and disorders that you can get from trauma, like borderline personality disorder, some mental disorders that are given to you, acquired by through trauma, have this some of the same symptoms as ADHD. They're kind of like so ADHD and other mental disorders or illnesses that you can get with trauma, they kind of commingle together, and their symptoms commingle together, and sometimes it's a little hard to separate them. So, you know, they say medically that you can get ADHD from trauma. You know, you can acquire that from trauma in your childhood. And the best way to find out if it is, you know, if it's a response to trauma or if, you know, you actually have ADHD is to, you know, is to come to terms with your trauma and, you know, be okay with that, fix it with yourself. And if you're still having the symptoms of ADHD, it is definitely, you have it. It's not a trauma response. So, mine, you know, I've been through a lot of intense therapy, like I said, and I still have a lot of ADHD symptoms. So I have a new light pad today, and I think I've got the button in the wrong place, the power button. I really think that mine is ADHD. I don't think that, even though I went through a lot of childhood trauma with a narcissistic stepfather, and we'll get into that later, but I don't think that it was through that. I think it's just, you know, my father had it, and my brother and I both. Thanks, Dad. So anyway, the one that I cut off of here was brain fog. And I put that number 1 because that's one of the symptoms I think I suffer with the most, is the brain fog. And right now, I'm not taking my Strattera, and I should be, but, you know, I have the symptoms from the Meniere's, and I'm going to acupuncture each week now, and he's trying to get rid of that for me, the vertigo and stuff. So, the Strattera just makes me so sick that I have to, even though the benefits from it are great, and that's one of the words that I have on here is Strattera and Wellbutrin. I took Wellbutrin a long time ago for ADHD. You guys might recognize that. It's a non-stimulant. There's stimulants and non-stimulants medication for people that have ADHD. The stimulants, some of them are amphetamines, and I think one of the amphetamines is Adderall, I know for sure, and that's on here. I have taken Adderall. You'll see Adderall, Vyvanse, and Ritalin are at the top. I'm going to put some pictures in with this video so you guys can see all the words. So Adderall, Vyvanse, and Ritalin, those are the stimulants. And then Wellbutrin and Strattera are the non-stimulants. And I asked for a non-stimulant this time. I wanted to try it. I really don't, you know, I am terrible with medication. I don't always remember to take my medication. So I thought maybe taking Strattera might be a little bit gentler on my system, and also, you know, if I forgot to take it, wouldn't be such a big deal. Strattera does help create dopamine, which you guys have probably heard that before. Dopamine is referred to as the feel-good hormone. It is created in your brain, and it is a neurotransmitter. So for those of you who don't know what a neurotransmitter is, it's like a chemical messenger that is in your brain, and it communicates messages between the nerve cells in your brain. So that's what dopamine is. That's what it does. It communicates messages between the nerve cells in your brain and your body and the rest of your body. Like it's telling your brain, the cells in your brain and the cells in your rest of your body. It's, communicating with them, telling them what to do. And like one of the big things that dopamine does is it affects movement in your body. So, it's important to have that. That's what a lot of people that have Parkinson's disease, they also have low dopamine levels, So it also acts as a hormone in your body. Dopamine is really, really, really important. So when you're low on that, it's not always a good thing because it does so much, and plus it's part of your reward system. It's also, a neurohormone that's released by the hypothalamus in your brain. It has a lot. So, dopamine is released into your bloodstream. It plays a small role in the fight or flight syndrome. And the fight or flight response, you guys probably already know, is your body's response to a real or perceived, imagined, stressful situation. So, when something happens and it might be bad and you get scared, say you see a spider and it's a great big one and it's sitting on your door handle, and the first thing you think is, oh my God, do I stay here and squash it or do I take off and run? That's your fight or flight response, and dopamine has a large hand in that. I'll turn this off for a minute so I can see. Wow, they lined up really good. I'm really excited to do this first crystal, full crystal. I have a bunch, I just haven't had the time to do one, and it looks amazing. I love them. So, other roles of dopamine, we've got the fight or flight, movement, also memory. Dopamine plays a big key in your memory. Also, like I said, your reward stuff that's, pleasurable, your reward system. So when you have low dopamine levels, a lot of times people that have low levels will dopamine chase, to get little spikes of the feel-good hormone. Behavior cognition. So it plays a big role in that. Attention, which is, with ADHD, it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and there's ADD too as well. I have ADHD, I have the hyperactivity as well. So, it also plays a role in your sleep and arousal. It plays a role in your moods. And it plays a role in learning. And also with mothers, it plays a role in lactation. So you see with moods and memory, behavior, attention, learning, that's, all the key components of having ADHD, a learning disability. So we talked about the brain fog. So we'll go on to a lot of people that have ADHD, I'm sure, as a child, when they remember back when they were little, their teachers, their parents, mainly the teachers probably complained to the parents and said, oh, she or he is a daydreamer or a fidgeter. That's one thing I hear a lot, and I remember that's one thing I heard about my teachers would constantly say, and I have seen papers that my mother kept from when I was a child in school, and it said I was a daydreamer and a fidget. I was always out of my chair. Struggled to stay focused on goals. That's pretty self-explanatory. And if you guys out there that suffer with ADHD have any of these symptoms, let me know. If you sit weird, I was showing Jeff this the other day, and he was like, he's always making fun of me for I sit, even if I'm on the couch, because people with ADHD, a lot of times we're never relaxed, hardly ever. So I really, really want to know, you guys out there, do you sit weird? Do you sit like Indian style, or do you fold a leg underneath of another? Let me know. I'm always sitting odd. I'm sitting like with my knees, underneath of me, or I'm sitting Indian style. Random singing and dancing. I do this all the time. And when I think back to when I was young, my mother and my grandmother did it as well. And I always thought it was hilarious. So now I'm wondering, did I get it from both sides? Did I get it from my father and my mother and grandmother? Just, they had it, but they were never diagnosed, because statistics are only as good as, the people that are having everything recorded, for the people that are out there that have never went to see if they had anything, we don't know. We don't know about those statistics. So anyway, there are some really good perks to having ADHD, and one of them, I think, is that we can be really funny. I think, a lot of us like to joke around. We have really great personalities. And that is, I think, a good side of having ADHD. We're silly and goofy and just funny people. So it's not all bad stuff. Comfort items. Let me know, you guys, if you have a comfort item and you have ADHD and you have a comfort item. I have, and I've always had, a blanket. I don't have, I need a tin for my junk drill, my trash drills. I've forgotten to do that. Here for right now. I'm so not used to working back here in the craft room, and I finally got it together so that I could, sit back here and do some videos, and I got myself a new A1 white pad for my birthday, and it'll stay back here. I can't drag that around, so it'll stay back here. So, emotional permanence-ish difficulties. So, what that means is people that have ADHD, I'll give you an example. Like, say your significant other gets upset with you. They get mad with you. And that is all you can focus on is their anger. You can't understand that they also love you at the same time. You know, you can't understand that they can feel two emotions at the same time because you only feel what you're feeling at the present moment. If it's anger, you don't remember what joy feels like. If it's joy, you don't really remember what sadness or grief feels like. You know that you have felt it before in the past, but you can't really process and remember what it actually felt like. So you can't rationalize someone being able to feel two at the same time. It just, so a lot of people have difficulties, especially in relationships, because you can't, when two people don't always get along. And this is something that I really, really struggle with personally, is because I can't, when, my mom was alive, when mom would get mad at me, I couldn't always understand how, but of course there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of layers to that, and we'll go all through that. But when John gets upset with me, when Jeff gets upset with me, I can't always understand that they can be upset and angry with me and still, at the same time, still love me. It's hard for me, and I feel like I'm a pretty rational person. But it's very hard for me to think about that. Self-doubt. I think that in everybody's day, we all have a little bit of self-doubt. I think that when you have ADHD, it's really heightened. And of course, like I said, when you have other disorders like borderline personality disorder, self-doubt is another huge symptom. So it's really good to have a really strong support system around you, to not put yourself in any toxic environments that aren't good for you, because you already know that you're struggling with stuff like this. So you don't want to add to that. Just, if it's a bad situation, if it's something that is going to cause you to doubt yourself, question yourself, get out of there, So, mind always on the go, can't relax. I bet everyone out there that has ADHD probably shares this symptom. It is huge with us in this ADHD community. Our minds are always racing. I'm single placing when I should be color blocking. But I'm enjoying it. I'm rolling through it. So I've been doing so many squares that it is very different to do rounds, when you've done, like, I think I did three or four square projects in a row, and then now I'm busting out a round. So I actually, you know what? I love both drill types. There are great things with both drill types. You've got round, and round, of course, are, if you've got a good company and the rounds are faceted well, they are really, really sparkly, you know, and then your square gives you some sharper definition to your detail. Um, okay, guys, so let me know out there also if any of you that have ADHD make noises and sound effects. I do that with everything. And I talked to a couple of my friends that have it, and they say they do it as well. So let me know out there if you make sound effects for stuff and little noises. I think that's one of the funnier symptoms of ADHD. I also do, I don't know anything about sports, like nothing. And I do sports commentaries with sound effects, like for golf and football, and Jeff just laughs and thinks it's hilarious. We forget to eat a lot of times, people with ADHD. You know, we have to be reminded to eat because we just forget it. You know, we don't factor that into our schedule a lot of times. Time loss. You know, you will just absolutely lose track of time. I do that a lot. One second, I need to get a piece of grease paper, I think. And this will go quicker. I got these from Crashly's Crafts on Etsy. I love them. I've been getting these little designed release papers that all have different designs on them from her Etsy shop for probably a year and a half now. I have all different kinds, all different sizes, and they are just amazing. I like these smaller ones. The smaller size are thicker. The larger size that she has are thinner. So, time loss is, for example, like you are watching TV or you're diamond painting and it is noon and you have an appointment at 3 o'clock and you look at the clock and all of a sudden it's 2:30 and then you look at the clock again and it's 3:30 and you've lost track of time. You don't know where it went, and you're also late for your appointment. People with ADHD are chronically either really late or very, very extremely early to things. There is no middle ground, as with a lot of things with ADHD. Sound sensitivity. Let me know, guys. This is another big one that I really... It's something that is one of my biggest symptoms, and I would like to know if you also suffer from sound sensitivity. And this is where noise actually hurts. It physically hurts you, and sometimes it really irritates you because ADHD, there's ADHD rage, you know, and you can, with ADHD, you switch moods just like you do with any other mood disorder, bipolar or borderline, you know, and sometimes I've got bipolar, borderline, and ADHD, and I don't take medication for bipolar, or there's none for borderline. There's only therapy for that. So you really have to stay on your moods. You really have to be diligent and very self-aware to make sure that you don't go flip-flopping with some crazy mood switches all over the place. When you have more than one of these, one is tough enough, I'm sure. And of course, I'm not always perfect with it, but I do put in a lot of work with mental health, a lot of work. I didn't ask for any of these. None of us out there did, they're either hereditary or, through trauma. And we, unfortunately, are the ones that have constantly got to put in the work, but it also makes us stronger and wiser people, So I don't feel sorry for myself for having any of them. I just try to be very hyper aware. Takes things too personally. This is me. I take everything too personally, and when something happens with someone, sometimes the first thing that comes to my head is, oh my God, have I upset them? Have I made them angry? Why haven't they answered me? Are they upset with me? Good during crisis. This is another ADHD perk, I think. And that is, we are amazing when there is a crisis. We sweep right on in there, and we can get everything in order, crisis averted, and go on with the day and be extremely proud of ourselves. That's just something that we are really, really good at. We're always under pressure, and we work very well under pressure. Very, very well. So that's something that we can all, when you're in crisis, go out there and snag up your ADHD friend. Dopamine chasing via shopping, food, and exercise. Let me know if you guys do this. It's a huge symptom of ADHD. It's also one that is shared with others, like bipolar, borderline. So I've got it times 3. I love to shop, and it makes me feel very good. It puts my feel-good hormone, dopamine, gives me that quadruple dose of it, and sometimes I will shop and buy stuff and never use it, just to get that initial dopamine high. And let me know if any of you guys do that as well. If you buy stuff, I have clothes that I have bought, over the course of years, and I will never wear them. Especially like cute little dresses. I love cute little nice dresses, but where am I going to go to wear them? But I have a ton of them. And makeup, I love makeup, and I do a lot of makeup. I want to do that. It's something that I want to get into eventually, but there's a lot of makeup that I have purchased that I don't even use. So I've never opened. It's just getting that. And I'll look forward to stuff too that I buy. And then once I get it and I open it, that's it. That dopamine rush is gone. And so I'll put it to the side, and that's where it will sit. And I do the same thing sometimes with food, I'll get on food kicks where just going to the refrigerator, you will find your ADHD friend hanging out front of the refrigerator a lot. We like to open the door and close the door and check out what you have or what we have. Even if we were just there 5 minutes ago, we're just going to open it up and close it out of boredom. And, you know, looking for that food to chase that dopamine. Anxiety. We, of course, have anxiety because we are always stressed to the max. We are always on the go. And, of course, everybody out there knows what anxiety is. We are clumsy. We fall, we trip, we drop stuff. I am constantly dropping everything. I drop my life, my hopes, my dreams, my sanity. It all goes on the floor. Strict routines, and you'll see, if you guys can see this, let me move it. Let me move to where you can see. I put these little happy face and then a mad face that's saying bad words. You see them? Right here. I'll put some pictures up. You can see them in the corner. Okay, there was the sound effect. Anyway, so I have to follow strict routines. It's almost to the point of OCD. Now, my doctor says that she doesn't think that I am OCD. She thinks that, of course, I have a little bit, but I'm not clinically diagnosed as having OCD. I have routines for everything that might be a little much sometimes, and I'm like one of those type A personality people where everything has a place, everything needs to go in its place, and, you know, sometimes I can melt down a little bit with it, you know, the ADHD anger. I will just, as soon as I see a cup somewhere that it's not supposed to be, or a ring, you know, where somebody set a cup on my counter and it's left a dirty ring, if I have all the laundry in the laundry room and Jeff throws the socks on the floor, it's just, you know, it can send me into that mood switches just like that, and I'm angry, you know. I am really weird about, like, when I get out of the shower and I have my bottle of bleach in there, I have my sponge, I have everything, and as soon as I get out, I've got my towel on me still. I will spray the whole bathtub down, scrub it, and I do this every day when I get out of the shower, and, you know, it all goes back in its place, and, you know, I rinse it all out, and it's not just I've seen people that spray their showers down. I scrub it every single time, and it's only my bathroom. I'm the only person that uses it, so, but that's just one of the very weird things I do that I think is a little over the top. And like I said, when there's a change in that, you know, it can either throw you off so that you are, you know, just a little out of the loop, and I guess you would feel kind of just thrown off a little bit, you know, because the change in your routine would leave you a little offset. Or you can just switch to really, really angry. You're shy socially, but you overtalk or overshare to compensate. That is definitely something that I have. And a lot of people will say, oh my God, you don't seem like you're that shy, you know, because you seem like you're super outgoing and you wouldn't have a shy bone in your body. I am very shy. And, I love people, but I'm just a shy person. But once you get to know me, that's when all the goofy falls out. And I will overtalk or overshare sometimes to compensate for my shyness. And sometimes it'll leave me looking or feeling extremely awkward. Self-doubt. I have it twice. Okay, so we already did self-doubt. For some reason, I did that one twice and didn't even realize it. That's how tired I was putting these on at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So, and then I have old eyes on top of it. But I've added a couple other ones in to take care of that one that I didn't have on the chart. Loses items like your keys or your phone. You're constantly losing something that is vital to your day. That is me. I have a little tiny purse. I don't have a whole lot in it. But I don't have keys. I have a fob for my car. I have a house key and a mailbox key. And a key for the condo. But the keys that I need the most are my car keys or the fob. And I constantly have to dump everything out of my purse. And then, of course, the more that I have to dump out, the more frustrated I get while doing it. And it takes me a little bit to wind down from that frustration and anger. My phone, I'm usually good with my phone now. Sometimes I'll run right out the door and leave it. But usually I'm pretty good with that now. But my keys. Hyper focus. Okay, so people with ADHD, we have a really, really hard time with attention and focus. But we also have the advantage of super hyper focus. It's almost like a superpower. When we do get focused and we stay on it, we are laser focused. And that is everything that we are going to get the mission done. And we are on it until the mission is complete. That is our superpower, is the hyperfocus. I love that about ADHD. Let me know if you guys, what your favorite thing is about having ADHD. If it's, if it's your comfort item, like your blankie, or your favorite t-shirt, or if it's having hyperfocus, or if it's, that you're good in crisis. Let me know what your good part, your favorite good part about having this is. Fatigue and hyperactivity. I have them on the same square because, you would think when people say ADHD that you would not suffer from fatigue. But ADHD is an all or nothing disability, and you are either hyper or you're fatigued. There's not a whole lot of in between. Now, I'm usually a highly energetic person, and a lot of people will say about the ADHD friend, well, that one is high strung, and I've heard that all my life. She's a little bit high strung, or she's a lot of bit high strung. But there are now. I didn't have it as much when I was younger, but thinking back to when I was coming home from school and stuff. A lot of times I would be extremely fatigued, but I don't know if that was just, home life or what, because I was a big sleeper. And, we'll get into that when I tell my story, but I don't know if that was home life or if that was a part of just, the ADHD fatigue because you're wound up all day long and then, you crash. Food kicks. This is another thing I'd like to hear some feedback on. If you will go on a kick for a while. Like right now, mine is Pop-Tarts. I didn't eat sweet stuff for years. And now all of a sudden it's Pop-Tarts or some kind of a sweet roll that I bake at night. But specifically it's raspberry Pop-Tarts that I have been on a food kick. And, sometimes it's pasta. I'll get on that for weeks or months. I just want pasta every day. Chicken salad. Let me know if you guys do that too. Talks loads when interested, can't focus on conversations when others are talking. That is me to a T. Unless you're saying something that I am very interested in, sometimes I cannot focus. That's just my little ADHD brain struggling. But sometimes I will blabber on, and I know that sometimes the stuff I blabber on and on about nobody wants to hear. Chronically overwhelmed. I find this a lot of ADHD women. They are chronically overwhelmed even with like the smallest tasks. And, so some of these all fall into place to divert myself from feeling chronically overwhelmed. I have to follow a very strict routine, like with clothes, laundry. Okay, take laundry, for example. This is my thing. I will get very overwhelmed with a lot of laundry because I do not like folding it and putting it away or hanging it up. I just don't. I don't think there's one person out there that really enjoys that folding and putting away laundry process. But I find that it's just a pain in the butt. And so when, and Jeff wears these, he wears 2XL. And so his clothes are really big. And, it can get out of hand very, very quickly. Like within a week, we can be overrun with laundry. Now, he's doing a little bit better with it because he knows how it affects me. So he tries not to come home and change 50 times like he used to. I have a laundry basket at the end of the bed because he is one of those people that will just throw. He's got socks on the floor. He's got underwear on the floor. And I just get so aggravated with that. Me, when I take clothes off, I go right into the laundry room and I've got the washer open. So this is the routine. The washer is open. It's ready for the load. I've got pods already in there. And once that load is full, I put the lid down. I run it. I dry it and I put it right away, and he's gotten a little bit better. I find most of it in the laundry basket now, but what I do is I've got a habit of before he gets in bed, I will turn down, we've got a great big huge bed, so I'll go in there. I've got all these decorative pillows and stuff, and I'll put the pillows off to the side and turn it down because he usually goes to bed before me anyway, and then it's dark in there. So I'll have the bed all ready, and as I'm walking out the door, I grab what's in his laundry basket on my way out and go throw it in the washer. So that's my whole routine with that. And I follow stuff like that with everything. I have to, you know. Forgetfulness. Now, I find as we get older, especially after pregnancy, during and after pregnancy, I feel like, you know, my brain, I was just dumb. Pregnancy made me stupid. People with ADHD are a little bit more on the extreme forgetful side, I think. Intense emotions. Now, with a lot of different disorders like bipolar, borderline, ADHD that's another symptom that runs, you know, commingles with them, is the intense emotions. You know, we feel things a little bit more passionately than other people do. Our emotions are a little bit more intense than people that might not suffer from those disorders. Obsessed with hobbies, and then you drop them like it's hot. Let me know if you guys do this. Now, diamond painting, I have had for a long time. Just like parrots, you know, raising birds. That's another hobby of mine. Now, I used to actually breed them, but I have, you know, since gotten out of that because it's a lot involved. But I've still stuck with that hobby, and I stuck with diamond painting. But there's things that I've done, like resin. You know, I wanted to get into resin, and I still even buy stuff for resin, and every once in a while I'll work with it, but I've mostly dropped that. And there's been things in the past that, you know, I've gotten into and put a lot of money into, and then just, you know, one day decided that just is not for me, and I will turn my obsession onto something else. Doom piles. Now, doom piles are like little piles of clutter, little piles of clothes, little piles of stuff that we leave laying around. Mine are mainly on the big dining room table in the dining room, and you'll find there's little piles of papers and notebooks, and it's mainly my to stash stuff and group stuff and cookbook stuff. But let me know if you guys have little doom piles laying around of stuff that's just chaotic. Interrupt people in conversation. Your ADHD friend is the best at this. When you are talking, we will just butt right on in. And we don't mean to do that, you know, and sometimes we don't even notice that we do it. You know, I think it's just we are so wound up, and, you know, sometimes with conversations, especially if you are overstimulated, you will butt right on in and start blabbering over top of everyone. So, with that, over and or under stimulation. This actually, like, if you're over or under stimulated, for me, if I am overstimulated, things can be very agitating or even extremely uncomfortable. Like, if I'm overstimulated and sometimes I put on something tight, like a bra or a pair of shorts, that can be extremely uncomfortable for me. Even sometimes taking a shower can be when I'm already overstimulated, it can be extremely uncomfortable for me, and I have to take a bath. And so let me know if that affects you like that too. Sound, if I'm already overstimulated and I hear a repetitive sound, like somebody's clicking a pen, click, 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 or a dog is licking its fur, that's something that will set me into a tailspin. And I love animals, but that noise will just set me insane. And then you have understimulation. If your ADHD friend is understimulated, it might come off as boredom, or they might come off as extremely sad. Feeling alone. I do it, and a lot of the people that I have talked to with ADHD will do this too. We kind of isolate ourselves, and then we feel alone. I don't reach out to a whole lot of people. If people sometimes don't reach out to me, I am so guilty of this, and I find that it's another symptom of ADHD. We don't reach out, and so sometimes that will leave us feeling very alone, even though all we have to do is pick up the phone or get in the car. A lot of times we just don't do that, and we just sit around, and we will get in our feelings and feel alone. This is something I am really extreme. It's one of my worst traits with the ADHD. I need to relate to people in conversation, and then a lot of times people will think that I'm trying to make the whole conversation all about me, and I'm not. It's just, especially if it's a conversation and it is something that I do relate to, something that is happening or has happened or I like or I dislike, if I find it relatable, I will let that person know, and it will come off as me trying to, make it all about me, and it's not. And it's something that I know I need to work on and fix. I don't need to let everyone out there know if I have the same, feel the same, think the same, I just, if I like chocolate chip cookie dough and sour cream chips, and we're the only two people on the earth, I don't need to always, say, hey, me too. Zoning out and dissociation. Now, I put them in the same square, and I put them for ADHD, but those two are two totally different things. Zoning out and dissociation are, I did put them there so that I could kind of go over what it is. Zoning out with ADHD, you don't dissociate with ADHD. You only space out or zone out. And now I can really see the difference, where before, when I had, because I would dissociate because of the trauma from the domestic violence and SA, especially people that have, had SA in their past, they will learn to take themselves out of that situation and go somewhere, and if it's something that's in their life that's repeated, they get really, really good at it, to where they can just switch and go, they're not even in that room, in that body anymore. Where zoning out is, more of a, you're just spaced out, you're just flicking the light off and, not thinking at the moment, but you're still there, you're still, aware of your surroundings, and where with dissociation, you're really not, you're not even there anymore. Directionally challenged. I kind of worded that wrong, to where it sounds like you would be bad with directions, which you kind of are. If it's verbal directions, you're if somebody's telling you something, you're definitely not going to remember it or follow it very well. You're going to need it to be written down or texted to you, whatever it is. If it's, how to put something together, or how to get to grandma's house, you definitely need a hard copy of directions to follow, because you're not going to remember somebody, especially if it's 12-step directions. You're going to remember maybe the first two. All or nothing thinking and all or nothing energy levels. That is ADHD to a T. It's kind of along the same lines as anybody that suffers from borderline personality disorder. You got the same thing. It's all or nothing thinking, and ADHD is the same way. All or nothing thinking, and you've got all or nothing energy levels. You're either going hard or nothing. And then we went over the medicine, and the last one I put, because that is one of my biggest ones, and that's impulsiveness. I am a very, very, very impulsive person. And I think that's something that all of my ADHD friends have. And you'll find it's a very common symptom with it. So at least I got almost that one whole square of 939 done. And I didn't multi-place it. I don't know. Do you guys multi-place with crystals? Let me know. So, I wanted to just take this and just let you guys know out there that you're not alone. I think that's very important. And please remember, the most important thing is therapy. Therapy. I can't say that enough. Get yourself a good therapist that you feel comfortable with. And I really, really enjoy my therapy time now. I remember when I was younger, I fought it, but I really enjoy that now. It's so important for you. That's your you time. Mindset is extremely important, If you are facing the day with a positive attitude, you're going to get through it much easier, no matter what disability or disorder you have. Mindset is so important. So I'll be working on the future videos for you guys. Those will be coming soon. I'll be sharing my story, in a few videos. And I'll be also sharing some videos with products from all of our sponsors for the mental health event. So be on the lookout for those, because they really have some great products. And we'll be doing some lives as well. I think I'm going to try some lives on YouTube, just to see if it runs a little bit better than the Facebook lives. So thanks, guys, for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month. Yay, guys, it's finally here. Enjoy your day. That'll do it. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.